Great, thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah, it's great to be here. My name's Claudine Nightingale. I'm a publisher at AM. And I'm really excited to have you here to celebrate not only the 400th anniversary of the publication of the First Folio, but also the launch of our First Folios Compared site. As you know, it's a unique site that's bringing together dozens of First Folios, digitalised First Folios, all in one place for the first time. And it's really great to be able to be here at the RSC to celebrate it. So thank you to Michelle especially and everyone at the RSC for letting us host the event here. So yeah, I'm really thankful for all of you coming to join us. We've got our speakers who have joined us, so thank you to all our speakers who've come to talk to us today. You'll see various colleagues from AM here as well. There are some representatives from some of the institutions who have contributed to the project. And then there are those of you that I hope will be able to learn a bit more about the site and what it can do, perhaps see ways that you might be able to use it in your teaching and research, and maybe even help us spread the word about it a bit further so that people know what's happening with this amazing site and all the First Folios that you've contributed all in one place. There's going to be time for questions at the end of each session, so do feel free to ask those questions at that point. And obviously there's also a coffee break in the middle, and we've got our drinks reception afterwards, so there's plenty of opportunity to speak to any one of the speakers or anyone at AM if you've got any questions. You'll also see we've set up the website in the corner there of the screen. So in the breaks, if you want to have a quick go on the website, if you haven't had much of a chance yet, do have a poke around and a browse. And yeah, see what there is to see. So yeah, I just wanted to start off by just giving you a bit of an insight into where the idea came from and how we put the project together. So I have been at AM since 2014. Having joined, I've been leading the development of the theatre list. So we have some of our titles there. You can see we've managed to work with loads of great theatre companies, Globe and RSC and Folger. So while working on these projects, myself and the team have been able to build up some really strong strategic relationships and good solid partnerships with these theatre archives. When we were working with the Globe on the Globe project, it was around the same time that they took on the stewardship of the Monroe First Folio. So that sort of sparked some conversations and thoughts about the power of digitising First Folios, like having them accessible in different ways. Then a global pandemic happened, and I also had my third child, so I was on maternity leave for a year. So that sort of put the First Folios to one side for a bit. Then, thankfully, by the time I came back, the pandemic has cooled down a bit. And we were in the throes of the production phase for our partnership with the RSC and their digital archive. So at that stage, it sort of dawned on me that the RSC also had a First Folio in their archive collection, which is not yet digitised. And I was sort of linking things together, and it made me think, I wonder who else that we work with, one of our many other archive partners that we work with might also have a First Folio. When we started researching the list of First Folio owners, we realised that actually there was a significant number of people that we work with all the time, have worked with in the past, have really strong partnerships with like British Library, State Library New South Wales, New York Public Library, that also had First Folios. And we started to think, what would be the power of bringing those together in the way that we have. So we started making those inquiries and linking it all together. And it really made sense in several other ways for AM to be doing this project. Firstly, it really links in with our company mission and values. So the AM's mission is to make primary sources at the heart of education, which I think this site really does that. It really... There it is. It really helps to facilitate research, and we're hoping that it will really bring an opportunity for new research into an area that's obviously a very well-established area, very well-known documents by reputation, but potentially not well-known in detail. So we're really hoping it opens that up. The other area that we felt would be really great for us to work on in terms of the collaboration we have with archive partners that I've talked about, and those connections there. But I think most crucially is the element of the platform capability. So because we have our own in-house tech team that build the platform that we produce our more traditional products on. Through AM Cortex, we are able to also provide that service for institutions that want to use it as a content management system for their own digital assets. So we've got that capability in-house. It seemed like a manageable project that we would be able to achieve, where perhaps others might not be able to. So the fact that we could bring this all together ourselves meant that we went ahead with the website. So when we started making contact with everyone, it was really heartening because basically we didn't know how many people would have digitized their first folios yet. In the last year, since we've been contacting people, it seems that lots of people have been digitizing them during that time period. I think the anniversary really spurred people on to do that. But I think also us contacting them about the site did spur some people on to digitize it in time for the project. So it was really heartening because even if people hadn't digitized their copy yet, they were really positive about the concept of the idea of the site. And we ended up with more on board than we'd hoped for in terms of First Folios and more institutions participating than we were aiming for. By the time we launched, we had 50 First Folios within the site, so 46 of those have the digital copies within the site. 4 are available through the IIIF manifest, which Anna will explain a bit more about in a minute. And that's contributed from 26 institutions, which is great. So they were obviously contributing 1 each, apart from the British Library, who have 5 copies but had digitized 3 at the time. And obviously the Folger, as we know, have millions. I think it's about 87, and they pleasingly had digitized 23 of them by the time we contacted them, so all 23 of those are also included in the site. What that means is that of the copies known to exist, of which Greg has visited half of them already by now, so he can tell us all about that. It means we've got an amazing around 20% of them in this site that people can see all at the same time, which I think, yeah, it's a pretty good achievement. So there's lots more I could tell you about this site, but not lots more time, so I'm going to stop there and pass over to Anna. She's one of our colleagues at AM. She works in the Cortex team, so Anna was instrumental in building the site, so she knows it inside and out. And she's the right person to give us a tour of it, give us an idea of some of the functionality and lots of things you can do with the documents in the site. And then if you want to ask Anna any questions after that, there'll be a couple of minutes to pose some questions. Great, thanks Anna.
Thank you for that
That's
very hyped up introduction. Yeah, I thought I'd go through the site with everyone and show you the basics of how to view, how to search, and how to obviously compare the photos that we have. So I will minimise this, show you the lovely background, and go into the site. So this is the guy that we're all here for. I thought I would, show you how to view first. I went into the First Folio tabs. You can go in via individual institutions, and if we just click into any of these, you will see this is where we put the context of the history of each individual folio. And then you can click into the assets here and you'll be taken into it. You can also go browse all First Folios. This is the exciting way to look at them because you have lovely 5 pages worth. You can see them all here. And we have our amazing filters. So we got some really interesting metadata for this project to really make sure people can see the differences between folios. So as well as the basics like census number, where they're from, we have things like, is it complete or are there missing pages? Some of them are annotated, some aren't. And of course you can see all of the different names associated with them as well. So loads of ways to filter and narrow down your search, which is really great. And the last way to view them easily is obviously via the search bar. When you type in your keyword, this search bar is available on every page that you visit. So I will pop into an asset and show you. This is everything you need to know about one folio. We have the browse image on the image viewer. We've also done section metadata, so you can browse down to the very scene, so scenes, acts, plays. And for pagination, as you'll probably be aware, the original pagination is disgusting in these First Folios. So we've actually gone with these signature marks, so the academics interested in this can find stuff via the signature. We have our summary metadata, and we have the deeper levels of metadata down here, so all of the gory details. That's a lot of text. We're not going to put that in the summary. And you can also see, for instance, what page this is. This is the front, and this is the cover, and within the folio, those will be the original page numbers down there. So now that I've shown you how to view them, more importantly, let's search. This is another really exciting thing about this website. I am biased because this is my bread and butter. But if we were to search a term, there are a few ways that the whole site is searched. So obviously the metadata is searched, we all know that. But also the static content is searched on this tab. Now this is really cool. No results available because static content are the individual web pages on the website. So if you were searching for a term like stationer's company, you would get results from the Printing the First Folio essay. So it's really interesting to draw in more context than just the folios themselves. And the last way to search, aside from the advanced search, which draws in all of these filters with the Boolean operators here, is the full text search. So I input the term midnight, and if I pop into one of these folios, we have a really strong handwritten technology recognition, and the search engine is really powerful. It can go in, and I've not searched it here, so I'll do that now again. But it searches the full text itself, so it goes in depth into the folio itself, and it can scan every page that we've run against this technology. And if we go in now, you'll see we have the hits here, so it has the word midnight 28 times in the folio. What's really great is you can see up close here, hit highlighting. So gone are the days of having to read this wonderful typeset that is not the best for scansion. You can see where we're looking straight away. It's amazing. And down here, we have search results as well. And it not only links the page, but it shows you a little snippet of the context around that word. So there are so many ways to search and research, so much easier. We've just tried to make it as accessible as possible to researchers. Which leads us to the last and most important part of this website is you've looked at your folios, you've searched for them, now you need to compare them. So we have an amazing piece by Professor Emma Smith, who is here today, about where to start. So we've got lots of inspirations and some links into different folios. And we have also used two tools on this website. So one is purpose-built for Cortex, our new comparison tool, which is nice and easy because you compare two folios within this website. It's really nice and accessible. And we've also used the IIIF external tool as well, which I'll explain in a moment. We have great tutorials on how to use it, but I'll just walk you through myself. So if we pop into any of these, our comparison tool is down here. You simply add to compare list, and if I go back to the list, I will think, oh, I'd really like to compare Buffalo's folio as well. So we'll pop into here, and then you add the second one, and when they're both added, this option becomes apparent. And it's this really nice, clear interface. We have two folios here. You can go through individual pagination, or again, we have all of this delicious section metadata. And it's just such an easy way to directly compare two against each other. Now, we've also used the triple IF tool in Mirador. That stands for the International Image Interoperability Framework, which is horrible to say. Say that 10 times fast. So if you, again, look at one of our assets, we have two options here. You can go into the viewer. That takes you directly to Mirador. And while that loads, so it's you simply add item, and it wants you to add a new object from URL. Now, I've clicked through from this folio, so that will load in a moment. But what's really interesting is adding folios from other websites. So you can draw in folios from anywhere on the web, which is great because, as Claudine said, we have maybe 20% of the folios out there, but there are so many more options. So if we scroll down here, you can see we have 4 folios here where we don't have the 4 folios. They are metadata only records. So we've been allowed to use the metadata, and I will show you via the document list as well. We've got a really handy filter for that. So we will search metadata only and apply that filter. And you can always tell as well because they have no image. So if we pop into Miami, you'll see we've included the standard metadata that we have, and also not only the original web location, so this is Miami's copy here, front and center to look at. We also have the XML, so this is the manifest URL. It looks hideous, you just need the URL, it's great. And then you pop it in, so as you can see, Buffalo is loaded. We simply add another slot, pop in the URL, and you can see we've loaded this from the Quartex site, and this is from a URL, completely different website, and now, we can directly compare 2 folios that aren't even both hosted on this website. So it really opens up the research amazingly. That is it for the comparison tools. I really suggest you have a browse as well, because on the Learn More we have so much more by way of resources. We've got an amazing essay, we've got more about all of the institutions, we've also got a fantastic digital exhibit about the digitisation of a First Folio, which is obviously a very tricky process. So we hope this gives more context to researchers as well, who may ask, why aren't they all digitised? Because it's hard. But there's so much that can enrich in the research experience on this website. It has been a massive labour of love, and thank you to all those who have been a part of this. I know a lot of organisations and people are represented here today, and we couldn't have done it without you. So please browse at your leisure. And yeah, thanks for being a part of this.
I don't know if anyone has any questions for Anna or I initially about the site or the functionality or browsability. Amy has, thank you, Amy.
I was just wondering if you could tell us about the future of the site.
Yeah, it's a sort of spoiler alert, because I was going to say that for later, but I'm happy to tell you now instead. So we've committed to hosting the site for at least 5 years, so we'll keep it live for at least that time. We wanted to do it long enough that if people want to integrate it into their teaching plans and lesson plans, then it's around for long enough for that. If it's really popular and it's being used, then we'll keep it going for longer. But that's certainly, as a minimum, we're going to keep it live for 5 years. We're actually in the process of planning a second wave of editions. So there's a couple of places that we were talking to who couldn't quite digitise it in time for the launch. A couple since then that have heard about it and didn't get we didn't contact the right person the first time, but they would like to join in too. So there will be a second wave of editions coming in the next couple of months. Essentially, if other people want to join, they're very welcome to. So we're hoping that we'll continue to add First Folios to the site. I won't tell you the other bit. I'll save the other bit till later. There's something else we're planning for the future, but I'll save that for later. Thanks, Amy. Hi.
I just had a quick question about, does the data include acquisition details? about why libraries have acquired certain folios and what the history of that collecting is?
Provenance, yeah, it does. So the metadata is based on the information supplied by each institution, and then Liz very cleverly sort of unified that information so that it works as a complete site. But essentially, most institutions had put together sort of provenance information like previous owners and that sort of thing. In each of the, when you view by First Folio, yes, browse by institution, each institution has a summary paragraph at the top which tells you the sort of story of that First Folio, which nearly always describes how that institution acquired the First Folio, yeah. No problem. Hello.
We've just been given a shed load of money to buy some digitisation equipment, which
Oh,
is very
brilliant.
exciting. And our first project
Congratulations.
is our First Folio. So how could we share that information with you, with the digitisation images and so on? Would that be possible?
It's absolutely possible, yeah,
We love it,
absolutely.
we'll take it back.
Yeah, no,
Stuff
absolutely.
comes next week.
Oh, brilliant, how exciting, that's great news. Yeah, no, by all means, just we'll swap contact details before you go. I'm sure you probably have them anyway, but just to make sure. And then, yeah, we can arrange the transfer of the digital files once you've completed them, and then any metadata you have, we can bring that all into the site. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Oh, great. There's another one for our second wave. Thank you so much.